Where you begin the journey will have a huge impact on the quality of your life for the good or for the worse. You have heard it said that successful people spend time and build relationships with other successful people, but I'd like to modify that truism to make it better. As you start this amazing study to understand true success in life, there is one ancient piece of advice that is grossly overlooked. I want to challenge you today. True success, the kind that fills your soul with peace and your life with meaning, comes from one source: God. The quality of the people in your life is very important. For example, choosing the right man or woman you marry will dramatically influence the quality and success of your life's journey. While we may not be able to choose our parents, we all know how much your parents will influence the rest of our adult life. Bad parents can screw up your whole attitude in life, making you more prone to success or failure. Anyone can overcome the negative influences in our lives, but how much better is it that your parents taught you a work ethic, loyalty, fidelity, instilled confidence in you, and encouraged optimism and faith while you were a child? We have all heard that bad influences corrupt good morals. There are some intrusive people and influences that have interrupted our lives while promising great and flattering rewards. But those promises have turned out to be one of the many bad detours that you wish you had not considered or participated in because the situation was abusive and detrimental. In the Level 1 book, The Covenant and the Crucible, I draw upon the metaphoric story of Pinocchio, which is ultimately about the hazard of making bad life choices. Pinocchio leaves his home and his creator Geppetto to strike out on his own. He falls in league with the fox and cat, who promise to turn his few coins into gold. Later, Pinocchio is tricked by the coachman, Barker, who takes lost children to Pleasure Island, where little boys are turned into donkeys to work in the salt mines. This fable is entertaining and carries a moral about our choices in life and the influence of corrupt people. With that said, let's return to the subject of how success in life should work. Suffice it to say that making good choices personally is important, but making good choices with your circle of good influencers is a reliable predictor of the success in life that we can expect. This fable is therefore about the hazards of poor life choices. As we start this journey to success at any level of life, know that these early choices are critical decisions that may not have an immediate effect, but they instill the instincts and qualities that will bring success into your life. I know you might have heard this advice at some point in your life, but we are repeatedly told that the knowledge of God is the beginning of wisdom. Whether you call it respect, awe, fear, or loyalty to God, what we need to glean from this advice must be considered as fundamental as advice that tells us that a good diet is much better than a sugar-rich diet. We all know that a good diet cannot be ignored without serious health issues later in life. So, as we start from square one to reconstruct our lives and pursue our success in life, we must start by including God as the essential to all that follows. All other influences, decisions, and challenges must be in alignment with this first principle of our dearest, most respected, and pure allegiance to the God who controls all the elements of life. We start by making God our primary influence in life. What we expose in the Success in Life training series is first developed in Book 1, The Covenant and the Crucible. A deep and profound understanding of who God is, how He works, and His covenant promises must be the most overriding consideration going forward in life. The good news for each of us is that this rework or restart of our lives can be installed at any time, regardless of your age or current dilemma. Obviously, we all wish that we could go back decades and get a redo, but fortunately, we can all get a restart for our lives. But this time, we engage a superior partner who will guide us to a better life. So, The Proverbs 9:10 passage is not a nice turn of a phrase when we are told, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." The Message Bible explains this verse as skilled living gets its start in the fear of God. Doesn't it make total sense that as we start or restart our lives, that we make God the first and primary partner with God? Who else can bring such wisdom and power to our lives? Even the popular success advice from secular promoters is to enhance our success by surrounding our lives with other good and successful people. The Covenant and the Crucible book is not a book to be just read. This is a book that should be studied and used as a kind of mentoring guide or digest of the best elements necessary to improve your life. But to make this verse more than a key principle buried in Proverbs 9:10, we need to stop, take the time, and dig deeply into the nature and operation of God's program for the earth. Why? Because, as you will find in the second very important book, God not only has an all-encompassing plan for the earth by which he maps out the future. He has included all of us, as it were, threads in the fabric of the grand plan that he is enforcing his unlimited wisdom in our world and all of history. At this point, we cannot read this Proverbs verse casually, but must take more time to fully appreciate its value and move on without knowing the awesome concept represented in the full panorama of the divine orchestration of history and our part in a small part of God's kingdom. Therefore, the Covenant and the Crucible opens the door of the Proverbs 9-10 verse to examine just how God operates heaven, this universe, this world, every era of time, and every part of this world, and wants to govern our lives with good intent to enrich our lives. Instead of a distant and distracted God that some suppose, it is incredibly important to fully understand that God is intimate and personally involved with everything in heaven, in creation, and in our lives. This intimacy may be best seen in the fundamental concept that God is not only the creator and author of all things, he also empowers and sustains them. Instead of a distracted and distant view of God, we should discover that God is active in every level of our lives. There are thousands of overt evidences of God's sustaining care and provision that are so common that we discount them as curiosities rather than daily miracles. Gravity does so much more than keep us attached to the ground. Gravity is how water from rain and snow creates streams and rivers that flow to the sea. On the way to the sea, we can extract an immense amount of power from turbines to power cities. Where did that power come from? And why does it work with such faithfulness? The sun sends light and heat to our world that gives energy for trees, grasses, and crops to grow. Sunlight is energy that can be captured and used by man. Again, where does all this energy come from other than a mindless sun that works because God made it work? Who buried the energy of oil and gas in our world long before we discovered how powerful this resource could be? And we have yet to truly understand how something so invisible as an atom is held together by an attractive power that could be unleashed in an atomic bomb or a nuclear power plant. Therefore, I insist that our world operates by the transfer of power from one place to another. Everything that makes life work is somehow connected to power, and no one can faithfully explain the genesis or starting point of power except by elaborate scientific fictions. So, the starting point is logically finding the source of all power that can only be understood an infinite and all-powerful God. In so doing, we must concede and deeply believe that God is the ultimate authority and infinite resource of all power. Fortunately, God is also known to be holy, meaning his intent and purpose are always and only for the good, regardless of an adversarial and sin-corrupted world that argues against and frustrates His power and His love. As you start this very important study, I cannot apologize for the starting point, which is a holy and loving God. Other success programs start with tapping into your inner self and the power you have to determine the course of your life. As you will hear repeated in our material, we are not the masters of our faith. We are the managers of His estate. As such, we start with two principles. God is not only in control, He is actually the resource we need to succeed. Secondly, we are called and given a position or calling in life that is how we join the victorious parade of victories in a troubled and troubling world. Over the course of Level 1 in the Success in Life training, you will read and study 3 books in this series. This is augmented by approximately 5 videos like this one and an ongoing series of remote events that build on these core principles. Changing your life comes with a guarantee or divine promise, which is God's fully empowered covenant to you. But do not view this project as a one-and-done effort. The reason that we have 3 levels is to embed the principles of God's success into lives that change us at the core and help us mature toward true wisdom and God-favored success. Our system is 100% up to you. Anyone can access the books and call it enough. But we hope that you will take the therapeutic, healing, and maturing path to instill God's success in your life. Finally, understand that we do not define success only as the acquisition of wealth, fame, or influence. Everyone has a mission that God intended for success and satisfaction, and your success will not be like the success of others. Wealth and fame will not bring ultimate satisfaction in life, but discovering your purpose in life will. You've heard the secular hype of success training events, but they only include God by reference, but quickly jump into the self-empowerment mysticism and enforcing your bold vision onto the future. It is time to restart the concept of success God's way. So, become a part of the only Success in Life program that starts and depends on God, who offers endless power, divine favor, and His personal promise for your success at any level of life.